Hello and welcome to the Ravens, a One Tree Hill podcast. I'm Simon and I love One Tree Hill.
And I'm Dom, and I've seen 185 episodes of One Tree Hill.
And tonight we are honored to be joined by a very special guest. We are joined by an actor, a model, and a jewelry maker. In the acting world, she has been part of massive shows like The L Word and Gossip Girl and worked on massive movies like Oppenheimer and smaller classics like Accepted. I love that movie so much, so I'm really excited to ask some questions about that. And of course, worked on One Tree Hill. Within the confines of One Tree Hill, she played Nathan's alleged mistress of the night, the claimant of an unborn Scott baby, the scandal that rocked a nation, particularly the North Carolina town of Tree Hill. She was slapped by Haley Scott. She was broken down on live television by none other than Dan Scott and was gone into the haze of season 7, never to be seen again until now, playing Renee Richardson in 7 episodes of One Tree Hill. It's Kate French. Kate, thank you so much for being here and welcome to the Ravens podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great. You guys know more about the character than I think I do.
Well, firstly, you've aged not a single day, so I don't know what's going on there, but
Thanks. That's very kind.
it's
You
very
can't see
it's
me up close.
well, I mean, what a whirlwind, as I kind of just explained in One Tree Hill world. I mean, can you explain a little bit about, well, even before we get to that, like how you got into acting in the first place?
Yeah, I flew out to California originally to attend college at UC Santa Barbara. My dad lived in the area and I wanted to experience California on a more regular basis. And so I moved out here and then I kind of got to college and I was like, I don't know why I'm here. Like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't like, and I'd always wanted to act. But I hadn't really grown up doing school plays or musical theater. I'm not much of a singer or a dancer. So it didn't really fit for me. And but I really wanted to act. And so I did a couple student films when I was at UC Santa Barbara and I it just clicked. And I was like, I should move to LA and pursue this. And so I did. I left school and I came down to LA and I started taking acting classes and I worked full time and I just hustled and then started auditioning. And my first thing ever was they were trying to adapt telenovelas for the US. And so it was a 5 nights a week soap opera. And so it was called Wicked, Wicked Games with Tatum O'Neal. And that was like acting boot camp for me. I went down to San Diego and I worked down there for 4 months and we filmed 63 episodes, I think I was in out of 65, 1 hour long episodes. And we were doing like 18 pages of dialogue a day. I mean, it was insane. I don't even know how now I have such a hard time memorizing lines. And I think it's just because my brain is slowly dying. But I was like, I don't know how I did it. Like, I had never done anything before, and it was just wild. We also shot everything in block shooting. So we did every kitchen scene that happens out of all the 63 episodes, within a couple weeks. We just were in the kitchen for 3 weeks. And then so you'd be like, where are we in the storyline? And it was so crazy. But it was an amazing experience. And then I left there feeling like, okay, I can go on to any set now and know what I'm doing. So that was a great, yeah. And from there, I just started working more consistently.
Wow, I love that. And yeah, like you said, what like a whirlwind education into film. I mean, I touched on the film Accepted, like in that little introduction. That's like a film that I love and have watched so many times over the years. Like that came out when I was in university, and obviously the storyline being what it is.
Yeah.
Like that's one that I can just like have on in the background while doing other things. Like what was your experience like with that?
It was great. That was actually my very first thing that I ever booked, even before that telenovela. And so I only had like I think I only had one line, but then they ended up letting us improvise, which I love that. And so we were on set, and the girl I was doing my scene with, we didn't have character names. We were just like Party Girl 1 and Party Girl 2 or whatever. And then in the scene, they're like, "Oh, what's your name?" And so she answers first, and she's like, Jenny or Jennifer or something, or she says Jenny, and then they look at me and I go Jennifer because I couldn't think of another name. So I just copied her name, but just made it the long version. And like we cut, and the director was like, that was hilarious. And I was like, oh, but I totally didn't do it on purpose. I just literally went blank because I had no idea we were going to be improvising. But it ended up being like comedy gold. And then I felt so like it was such a win in that moment. And I was like, oh, I was just hooked. So it was so fun. And yeah, it was a really fun day because we were on set in the big party scene. So there was a lot going on. But again, it was such a minor role, but it was so fun. And I really got a lot out of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, and you've got like a young sort of Justin Long and like
Yeah.
Jonah Hill and like people that obviously go on to have massive careers. So and that's kind of looked at as a bit of like a cult classic type film, I think. So that's great. Uh, and then, so I mean, and then to skip forward, I mean, like I know I've mentioned other shows like The L Word and like Gossip Girl. I mean, they're like massive shows. Oh, well, and maybe I'm getting this out of order. What came first? Did One Tree Hill come before them?
Um, I think One Tree Hill was after L Word. Yeah, and I think it was L Word, Gossip Girl, and then One Tree Hill, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
And
Um,
and
okay.
sorry,
Sorry.
yeah. So what was the process for One Tree Hill? Like, was there an audition process? Like, how much did they tell you about the character?
I actually tested for another character. It was to play the wife of Robert Buckley. Is yeah.
Hmm.
So it was to play his wife, and I had tested for that role, and I didn't get it, and so I was super bummed. But my husband and I had actually just gotten engaged, and we are flying to Russia of all places for a wedding. Um, and at the time, like this was so long ago, you didn't leave your cell phone on because it was roaming charges, and like that long distance and stuff. So I just turned my phone off the whole time we were there, and I was like, whatever, I didn't get it. I have nothing else I didn't audition for. So I just like figured there's no work coming in while I'm here. So and then my husband actually got a call from my manager and while we were on this trip, and he was like, where the hell are you guys? Like, we've been trying to reach Kate. She's booked a role on One Tree Hill. And they wrote this new character, Renee Richardson, for me based off of the test. And so I had to fly immediately back. And I literally didn't even leave the JFK airport. I just got on another plane and flew down to North Carolina for my fitting and to meet everyone and to film, I think, like one episode. And then I flew back to New York to like reset and get all my stuff. But yeah, it was great. It was a real whirlwind.
And did they tell you at that point what the character like was going to be, like the arc of what they were trying to get out of it?
No, I didn't really know at first. I don't remember. I mean, my memory is, it was a while ago, so I don't remember in detail, but I think it kind of like, I mean, they did tell me that she was going to be pregnant and accusing Nathan Scott, but I didn't know like how many episodes it was going to be on. I didn't realize she was going to be such a big character for so many episodes. I thought it was going to be maybe like one or two episodes. So it was great. Yeah, it was. I was super excited to be down there. And I think it was summertime. It was summer when I was filming, so it was really toasty down there. That I do remember.
And when like what was your familiarity with the show at this point? Like, I mean, I obviously you knew about it in like the zeitgeist, I guess, so to speak, but like had you watched it up until that point, or did you like go back and watch, or did you feel that maybe there was no need to like n have all of that information?
I didn't have a TV for a long time when I was like working and traveling and stuff. And so I actually had never seen an episode. I knew about it. I knew like it had a huge fan base and I knew that like, it had a wonderful following and it had been on for many seasons. I think I would watched one episode when I had auditioned to test for it, just so I was familiar with it. But yeah, and to this day, I still have never seen any. I never watched any of my episodes. I've never seen any of it. So I know I'm like, the fans probably hate that I haven't seen anything. I'm sorry.
That's
But
crazy. So, but it, well, it's, I mean, that bit's not crazy that you haven't seen like the whole show, but it's crazy to me that you haven't seen like your own episodes. Like, you didn't even want to like just check to see like what takes they used or anything like that?
No, I think I've seen some clips over the year of like certain scenes. Like I obviously saw the slap scene a few times and like but I've never seen a whole episode that I was in. I should, especially because I have like a daughter now who's like 9, and she would probably like love watching, me as this kind of character. So it's very different from my real self. Um, but yeah, I should watch it with my daughter. It'd be fun.
You could you
Absolutely.
could you could do a whole rewatch. So start from the beginning. Just maybe don't tell her you're in it until she sees you, you know.
That's true. That would be good. I tried to doing that with Gossip Girl, but I'm like kissing, Chuck Bass in it or whatever, and she did not like that. She was like, "What about Dad?" I'm like, "This is acting." So she didn't want to watch another episode. I was like, "Okay, fine."
Well, so when you're though you don't have that much context of the relationship that you're potentially interrupting of like Nathan and Haley, but this is, I mean, obviously I know that you know this, but it's like a sacred relationship within the show. Did you feel did you feel like Renee was kind of villainous in that way, or did you kind of look at it as like actually this character is separate to this and is actually just maybe she does think that Nathan is the father of her baby, and if so, then he does have responsibilities, or are you maybe not thinking that deep into it?
No, I was. I was actually trying to make it more like her a little bit more sympathetic, and because I don't think her intentions were like evil. I don't think she was aware maybe of, I mean, obviously she knew he was married and everything, but I think that like she was probably just a girl who was desperate for some financial help, and like maybe was coming from a bad situation. And so I kind of did come up with a backstory for her that wasn't written, that was like, I mean, even the pregnancy could have been kind of a pregnancy, not necessarily out of assault, but like out of a situation where she doesn't really remember, or like that's kind of how I viewed it when I read her as a character. And so I think that yes, she was strategic, and it was like crappy that she went in trying to, break up this marriage and everything. But I also think she probably just genuinely had like feelings for him and a crush as kind of like somebody watching from the outside. And so, yeah, I tried to humanize her as much as possible. And I personally, I think in playing her, didn't want her to be like a total villain. I love playing a total villain, and I've played a few, bitches before, but I just felt like, yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring that to the table so that it wasn't just a one note kind of, character who was just after one thing.
Yeah, great answer. And then when you have something like the slap scene with Haley, or with Bethany Joy Lenz, like is that some like do you enjoy doing some of that like the physical elements of it?
Yeah, I love it. I've been slapped a few times. So I've done a oil wrestling, a mud fight. Yeah, I love anything like that. It's fun. Like it's kind of fun to be the one that everyone kind of hates.
Have you
So,
ever get to do any slapping?
um, God, it's a good question. I actually don't think, actually, no, I don't think I've ever done the slapping. I think I've always been the one getting slapped. Even in high school, I once got slapped in real life. It was like the stupidest thing. And she was bullying another kid, this girl, and I stood up for the kid being bullied, and she just slapped me. But she was so kind, and she put her hand in her sweatshirt before she slapped me. So it cushioned. So I was slapped in real life too.
That's great. We need to right this wrong, I think. When they do the One Tree Hill reboot, we're gonna like petition that Renee comes back just to slap someone, just to make it right.
I
Sorry,
like that.
what was you gonna say, Dom?
was it 'cause you hope that all the slaps are done in one take rather than, oh, we just need to do that again and
Yeah.
Right.
again and
I
again.
think I can't remember how many times. I don't think it was one. I think we might have done it in a couple takes, but it was good. Yeah, it was a good slap.
And then it really like concludes with the like on t the live television like event of the week. It's so that moment, I mean, in so many ways is so crazy, but it's so entertaining. And I remember when I watched it for the first time, which is, like close to when it would have aired. Um, and just being on like the edge of my seat, like I couldn't believe like what was happening. And Dan Scott as a character is, well, he's so beloved by the fandom, but he's like particularly one of both of our favorites. And so it's such a great moment for him to get some sort of redemption with Nathan. Um, but he is also kind of sympathetic towards your character. I mean, how was that whole experience, and what was it like working with Paul?
It was great working with Paul. He's such a nice guy, and I remember, it's nerve-wracking to come into a cast that's been together for so long, and I've had to do that several times, and it's just you never for even from episode 1 when you're filming to like the episode 7, you're still nervous, like because you're just not part of the everyday with them. And so he was always so kind, and he would even tell me, kind of like, I'm sympathetic to her, and I feel like going into this, like I'm gonna treat you with respect, like, as the character, and I'm not going to just try to prove you wrong. And like, he was really great, and even giving me like a heads up on how he was going to portray, his performance with it. And yeah, I'll just never forget that he was a real calm in like a very nervous moment.
Nice.
As an actor going into a show like this that's got kind of all these established characters and has been quite long running by the time you're in it, do you get much? You said that you hadn't seen it as well, so do you get much time or given the opportunity to understand the kind of world you're stepping into and what the characters are like, or is it like here's the words on the page, go?
I mean, it depends because you can always do your own research, which I do try to do as much as like if I book something beforehand. But a lot of times, like I haven't really known. Like same with L Word, I had never seen it before I booked that, and I really had no idea coming into it what it was really, or how what a again popular show it was, and so but in certain instances, I like not knowing other storylines that are going on because I feel like if my character wouldn't know those things, then I kind of like to keep it that way. So like sometimes if I need to know what all is going on, then I go and do the deep dive. But if I feel like my character was just kind of coming in and she wouldn't know all of the deep dive stuff, then I kind of don't do it because I feel like why influence that in my character?
Yeah, fair, nice.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of like props on for this storyline, like the magazine covers of like, the I don't know, what would you call it? It's like the Us
The
Weekly, right?
tabloid.
Yeah, the tabloids. Yeah, like if I was you, I would have wanted to have kept some of that because it's cool, right? Like as in you personally, like did you get to keep any of like the little props or anything?
No, I didn't get to keep anything. I think they had to hold on to it all until the end of the season, just in case, So, and then I never reached out after. And I don't even know if they would have released it because, yeah, they might have, they always hold on to that kind of stuff. But I did get to take some of my wardrobe with Elward, like, because it was like they were the end of the whole show. So at the end of that, I got to take some wardrobe, but that was it. It's the only time I've ever been able to take anything.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And then how did you feel about the way that your character like wrapped up? Like were you happy somewhat with the conclusion? And did you ever feel like there could be any scope for her to return, or was it quite definitive that that was going to be sort of the end of that character?
I mean, in the moment, it felt really definitive, but I think as an actor, you're always hoping that they might come back. So I would have loved to have had Renee come back in some capacity at some point. Even when the kid was like older a little bit or something, just to see like kind of where she was and how she, where she took her life after that. But I do feel like they did a good job of kind of, sending her on her way.
Yeah, fair. Okay. Um, and then into some like more recent things. So like Oppenheimer, like what how did that happen? What was the story with that?
That was just a classic. Like I did it as a self tape because everything is pretty much moved to self tape now, and it was like during the pandemic, so there wasn't a lot going on. It's been painfully slow for me since the pandemic, but yeah, I just they had sent the page I auditioned with was actually a 1.5 page scene, and so I did a self tape and I got all dressed up from that era and just did it and thought nothing about because I was like, there's no way I'm gonna ever book this. I never thought I'd have the chance to work with Nolan, so I didn't think anything else about it. And then like a couple weeks later, I got a text message actually from my agent, not even a call, and they're like, "Oh, you've booked Oppenheimer," and I was like, "Is this a prank?" And they're like, "No," and I was like, "Oh my god." Um, the bummer was, I mean, it still was like an amazing experience, but when I got there, I had to go. They offered to me to come read the script, but I had to go to the studio and be in a locked room and couldn't, have your phone and all that. And I read it, and then I realized like that scene they had me audition with was not in the movie. That was just to audition with, and like it was only like it was down to 2 lines, and I was like, oh, so I was like bummed to not be able to do like a real performance. It was such a small role, but it was still incredible. And I mean, I would have played a doorknob just to be on a set. And so that was a dream come true. And it was incredible to work with Killian and to just be in their presence. And I was there the same day too, that Gary Oldman was on set, and he was the nicest man ever. He made me feel so comfortable because again, I was so nervous. And I
Yeah.
came in the very last weeks of them filming. So they'd already shot almost everything, and I was in the very tail end. So but it was great. Everyone was wonderful, and it felt pretty incredible to get direction from Nolan to tell me to go from here to there. And I had also never worked on set while they're shooting IMAX, and it's so loud, and so I didn't. That threw me off a little bit because I was like, oh, I mean, I'm gonna say my dialogue, but it's so loud. Like I don't know. And they just, yeah, you do the performance with the IMAX going, and then you do a take with it outgoing so that they can get the dialogue. But it was great.
Wow, what an
Awesome.
experience on
Yeah, and
such like an
lost
amazing
that
film.
time, like the hair, and you can't see me very long, but it's like it was full on, and they have it down to like what you would wear. Everything was authentic, from like the underwear they had you wearing underneath the clothing. So it was that level was I had never experienced on a set before.
So cool. So awesome. We have a couple of questions for some listeners, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Uh, so I mean, some of these you've answered a little bit, in my already excellent questioning, but let's see. Roslyn asks, does she being UK, consider Renee a villain or a victim of circumstance who made poor choices? How would she have changed or added to the story to make it more obvious to the audience which one Renee actually was? And did she know? So there's many questions in that.
Wow, yeah, that's a good one. Well, I mean, I think, yeah, I wouldn't call her outright a villain, like I said before. I think she was just kind of misunderstood and misguided. And without having a real background written for her and just something that I kind of created, I pictured her as just like a troubled girl who got in a bad situation and wasn't well off to take care of herself. I would have loved if they could have done a little bit more backstory so that we could have understood a little bit more about her in that sense. But I also understand, like, when you're making good television, you just want the drama. So she was there for that. And I think there could have been a few extra scenes that could have maybe showed a little bit more behind the scenes of like her actual life, like without those other characters. Because I feel like you only saw her when she was engaged with everyone else. So I think that would have been a nice touch. Um, but I obviously don't agree with what she did, but I think that she acted in her best interest and her baby. As a mother, I know when you have kids, like you're willing to do anything to be able to provide the best for them. So,
Absolutely, definitely. Uh, Mari asks, at what point did she, that's UK, know her role was to come in and try and break up Haley and Nathan? Also, how was it filming with Paul and Daniil? And how did it feel to be slapped by Joy? And where is Renee today? Wow, so many questions all in one. Everyone's really getting them in. I'm sorry, I know you've answered some of those already, but yeah.
um, yeah, what was the very first one? I remember the last one.
At what point did you know
Oh,
that you were there to break up Haley and Nathan?
I feel like I only knew like right before each episode because we would get the script at the front of the week before we started filming. So I, like the audience, didn't really know exactly. I was putting it together as they were. Like I don't think I was told. I can't honestly remember if I was told if I was there to like break them up and like if I would or not. I don't think I knew that. I think it was just she's going to claim this, but I didn't know anything else other than that. And kind of like as the episodes came, I got to see where the character was going.
Yeah.
Uh, and then what was the last question?
So what was it like filming with Paul? You've
Oh,
answered that. And Danielle, did you enjoy working with her? Did you? Yeah, you
yeah.
worked with her a bit. Yes.
Yeah, everyone was really, really nice. And again, as somebody who wasn't in with the regular cast, like I really only saw them like on set, but everyone was super professional. Like nobody treated anyone badly, or like they all would come up and introduce themselves if it was our first scene together. And yeah, even with the slap and stuff, like I remember we were joking around and like it was very, yeah, friendly.
Awesome. Kat, all the way from Australia, asks, do you think that Renee ever tracked down the real baby daddy and hit him up for child support, a little bit less than the hundreds of thousands Nathan could have given, or is she a strong, independent, single mother?
I think in the way that I saw her, I think she didn't know who, which sounds terrible because, but I think she might have like had too many drinks, and I don't know if she really knew maybe who the dad was, in my mind. Because I think that's kind of how she got in that mess, and then how she was kind of like, oh well, I'm panicked, and like I don't. I think that's maybe how she justified it. I don't think she thought that she actually slept with him, but I think that she maybe was lying to herself and was like, well, we were flirtatious, like maybe there was a chance, like and I don't think she fully remembered. So I don't think she fully knows, is what I would say.
So let's hope that she just,
She's
went
a woman,
independent. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Let's go with that. And
probably.
then
She's like a mom influencer now, is what I could.
yeah. Yeah, maybe she used her like reality TV fame to somehow,
Yeah.
leverage into yeah, I love it.
Instagram came out that year because I remember, because we were like one of the last weddings to not have like a hashtag because it didn't exist yet. It came out like a month after our wedding, which we got married the same year that I filmed One Tree Hill. So yeah, maybe Renee now is like, an Instagram, TikTok mom.
Maybe she makes jewelry, maybe. So can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I just this year, just actually last week, launched it's Low Tide LA. It's like a new take on kind of the surf aesthetic, surf necklace. And it's just they're semi-precious stones and like pearls mixed in with African beads to kind of give it that real kind of like surf culture vibe. And yeah, I've been working on it for the last 5 months, and I'm really excited that it's out there and launched. And now we have that website up and running, and we're still in the baby stages. We had a really good weekend of sales over Black Friday and everything. And now, yeah, we're just moving into like, we've got to advertise and create ads and all that. It's still like in the baby phase, but I'm so proud of it. And it's been a real passion project. So
And
I've always wanted to do jewelry. And so, yeah, I'm excited I'm finally doing it.
and so what's the website name?
It's called Low Tide LA.
Lowtide.com.
Yeah. Yep.
Low Tide. And are we saying for One Tree Hill fans that the jewelry, the necklaces have been put together with Renee Richardson's hands? Or
It
can we
has,
say that?
yes, at this point, they're all made by me. We were hoping eventually to expand, and it won't just be me. But yeah, I do all of the drilling and beading and soldering, so it's all me.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. And then we know that last month was it that you was in Wilmington for the
Mhm.
convention. Like, how do you find the convention culture and the fact that, years after the fandom is still so strong?
It was amazing. That was my first time attending, and I was so honored to be asked to come. It's funny because every different convention that I've done, they're for other shows. Every fan group is a little bit different. Like, still always amazing, but like there's just like a different vibe to every group. And the One Tree Hill fans were one of the most like endearing, like nice, even though I was a character that was kind of like the villain, like they were just I walked away feeling like I just had like a hug like from the weekend. Like it was truly one of the best experiences of my life, and I was so happy to be there. And I had a friend who flew down from New York who met me there, and she came along for a little bit of it, and she even commented, she was just like, it's really incredible, like them as a fan base and how much they love the show, and the fact that you can be here in the town where you filmed, like all of it is so special and unique to One Tree Hill. And so, yeah, everyone, it was incredible. I hope I can go back and do many more because it was truly amazing. And Wilmington is like one of the most beautiful towns. So I hadn't been back since I'd been back once since filming, but just on the outskirts. I hadn't actually gone back to Wilmington proper. So that was my first time back and seeing it, and it's changed a lot actually, but it's still so beautiful and quaint. And I mean, it's a really special place. So it was really nice to revisit.
Awesome. Yeah, Dom and I, we're in the UK, but we flew out to Wilmington in March of this year to go to, they had another convention like the same FWB but in March. And yeah, it's quite overwhelming like to be like a fan of the show, and like you said, to be able to be in like where all the filming locations and everything. It's quite a special, unique thing,
Yeah.
because it's not filmed in like LA or so, yeah, that it's
Yeah.
the
Very.
Wilmington's almost a part of the show.
Yeah, it's really special. That's I feel like that's very unique to One Tree Hill. I don't really know any other show that has that, same where it's, like even L Word, we filmed in Vancouver and then we filmed in LA, and you kind of film in multiple places or sound stages or, and so it is really incredible to have that experience with Wilmington. It's like a character in itself. It's kind of like Sex in the City with the city, and it's like Wilmington
Hmm.
or One Tree Hill.
Love it. And do you have any other projects that people can be like looking out for, like on the horizon?
I have a film hopefully coming out in 2026. We filmed it in 2023. So I'm hoping it's fine. Or no, 2024. Sorry, we filmed it in, but I'm hoping it's called Come With Me. So I'm hoping that comes out in 2026. That's the rumor that it should. But yeah, that was really a great thing to be a part of. And that's pretty much it. It's been pretty slow. That's hence the jewelry line. But yeah, and I've been doing a Dr. Pepper spot for the last 8 years, which has also been great. It's just a commercial that runs during college football, but that's been a really fun experience. It's the only time I've actually ever played a mom is in Pepper commercials. I don't book mom apparently. I don't know why,
That's
but
awesome. I love Dr. Pepper. So, I mean, I was sold already before even seeing the commercial, but that's very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for your time and for coming on and talking to us. Like you are like everyone, all the characters in One Tree Hill are so important, but it's so important to have people that can shake and stir the pot. And Renee is like just a great person to do that, and is a real highlight of season 7. Because if you took that, I know that you haven't watched the show like that, but if you took your storyline out of season 7, like there's not that much going on, Kate. Like for real, it's a bit of a dry season. But that bit is like the spice of the season. So I think we all have a lot to be grateful to you for with regards to that. So yeah, thank you for being part of a show that means so much to us and so many people. And yeah, thank you for talking to us about it.
yeah, thank you for having me. And you know what? You've inspired me to go watch that season just so I can see the arc and and touch base with Renee again. So yeah,
Yes,
nice talking with both of you. Thank you for having me.
absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Yeah.